Windows Server 2019 System Administration. Welcome back everybody. I am Prakash Pradhan, your trainer for this entire series. So in today's topic we are going to discuss about the server backup and recovery feature from the Windows Server 2019. As one of the most important job of every system administrator, or it might be system engineer in any IT infrastructure, is to make sure that the backup of every file and folder is taken properly. That means there should not be failure in restoring or taking the backup of your file or a folder in your network infrastructure. So whenever any client they creates a file or they creates any folder, that is actually redirected to the server. That means that's a file server. So everybody knows that in a file server, in any network infrastructure, there is a proper backup system. So the client is always happy to know that they have a backup in their domain this controller as a backup server, and they know that if any of the file or the folder is deleted, that can be recovered easily. So that's why this is one of the most important work of any system administrator, to make sure that they have a proper plan of creating a system backup or a file and folders backup, and in order to recover as well. So now, without wasting your further time, let's go to our domain controller to make sure, or the file server, to make sure that we can create and recover any of the file, any of the document from the backup and recovery feature that's given in Windows Server 2019. And it is not only in Windows Server 2019, it is in our previous version operating system also. So by default, Windows Server backup and restore feature is not installed. So first you need to install it. Let's say over here, go to manage, okay, then add roles and features. Next, this is role based. Next, and this is a feature, not role. Okay, that's why you will not get it in a role. Then you see at the bottom, you'll find somewhere here Windows Server backup. Just you need to click and install. Why I did this in pre-hand? Because it will save your time. Okay, now after that, in order to take the backup, there are three ways actually. In three manners you can take the backup of your Windows Server. Number one, you can take a backup in dedicated disks. Number two, in your system drive itself. And number three, in network shared folder. That I'll show you afterwards. Okay, it will come on the way automatically. Now let's see how to create the backup. I'm gonna do tools, server backup. It gives a wizard like this. Okay, now see, this is a console of your Windows Server backup and restore. So we have three options over here. Basically three options we use. Number one, backup schedule. That means when do you want to back up your files and folders? When do you want to back up your system state? Next one, backup once. Would you like to back up once though the schedule is done? Next one, third one, that is recovery. That recovery will be done by the system administrator in order to recover any of the files or folders that was being deleted by the workstation or the client by some coincidence. Okay, now let's go to take the backup schedule. First we go to next. Now see, it's asking you what do you want to take the backup for the schedule file. This full server, this full server backup means your system state actually. That means your application, your operating system, whatever you have installed so far, it's gonna take the backup of all. So right now if you see the size, backup size 11.37 GB, so that's why it's going to take a huge time. So I'm not going to do that. If you want to take the system state backup, you'll have to click this. Rest of the steps are same. Now I want to take the custom backup. That means I want to customize. I would like to select some of the files or folder that is important, that is used in a file server. So I want to do this customization and go to next. Now I need to add that file or folder whose backup I want to take it from the server, so that if any client deletes the file, that can be recovered. Click add. Now it's asking you, okay, it's asking you. After this you choose. Over here I have got only OneDrive, so it's showing only OneDrive, so I'm going to choose this, and my backup folder is over here. Here so many files are there, 1 2 3 4. You want to make sure? Let's see now. I will cancel this. Okay, right now, because I would like to show you that there are some folders, okay, whose backup I'm going to take it in a C drive. The name is backup itself. Okay, now let's see over here. See, backup. These are the files I would like to take the backup. So here will be, there might be hundreds and thousands of the files and folders of your client which you want to take the backup. Okay, so let's see now the same step. It will be quite good revision for you also. Okay, now backup. By this time you have already understood, I guess, how to take the backup. Schedule backup, or you can take the once also. And next I want to take the custom option, custom radio button, click add, go to C drive, because here is my folder backup. Here these are the folders, okay, or the files I mean to say inside this folder. Okay, now do you want to add anything else? Do you want to remove any item? Advanced option is also here, volume, shadow, copy, anything. Okay, now and then you don't need to go for this at this moment. Go to next. Now it's asking you, would you like to schedule this backup once a day, only once a day, or you would like to take more than a day, more than once a day? It might be in your organization there are some of the confidential documents, the staffs are supposed to take the backup of their file every then and now. In that case you can take multiple as per your need. Okay, as per your need. See, so many options are there. So let's take it for 4, add it. I'm going to remove it 9, and 430, add it. So if you similarly, likewise, if you want to add all the time also, that means I would like to take very often my backup because of my files are very much important. In that case, you can do that also. Okay, now next. Now this is the option I was talking about. It will give you the 3 options. Where do you want to store the backup? Number 1, backup to a hard disk that is dedicated. That means that hard disk will not be allowed to do any other task than taking a backup of your system or your folder. And the next option, backup to a volume. If you have more than one logical volume over here, more than one partition over here, you will be allowed to use the backup storage location in the same operating system's hard disk. And the next third one, you can take the backup of your folder, of your document, of your system state in somewhere network shared folder. In my case, I am going to use network shared folder, so that you can see practically that scheduled backup can be taken over the network shared folder as well. Okay, because these above two options are related to the your same operating system sticks. Now I'm going to say next. Okay, we know this. Now it's asking you the location. Where do you want me to take the backup of this folder, whatever you have selected just now? You need to give the UNC path. So I'm going to give the path 192.168.1.100. That is 1.2, I guess. And the name is store over here. This is the folder that's here in other computer than the server. Okay. Now, if you see, it is shared over here. I'll show you. This one is shared in another PC. See, this one. And it is given permission to everyone. But in your case, you don't have to do that. You need to select the administrator. But right now, I've given full permission. Since we are in a lab testing environment, I can use any account. So I've used everyone give read write data. So that means this folder is shared, and this folder should be accessible via UNC path. So if you have any doubt, let's say this folder is accessible via this path also, and let's say store. So okay, done, it's empty. Okay, now we're going to take the backup from this server to the network shared that folder. Okay, 192.168.1.2 and store. Okay, inherit is that. This option makes the backup accessible to everybody who has access to the specified remote shared folder. Of course, for the testing purpose, we have intentionally done this. Next, it's asking you authentication, because you need to make sure the target folder or the destination folder or the PC where you are going to take the backup, you have a permission to have access over that. Otherwise, anyone can take the backup of their data in your network. So I'm going to give administrator and the redwiretech.co. It will be easy for me to give this authentication, and then done. So this is the folder, finish. Now it will take few seconds, I guess. In our case, it depends upon the size of your data. Don't forget. Okay, by seeing this video, please do not misunderstood that in order to take the backup. In this video, it took hardly 1 minute or less than 1 minute. That means, I guess it's not more than 30 seconds. Okay, in your environment, it depends upon the size of your data. Now, If I come to my backup again, there's nothing. But if you notice over here, you see status scheduled. Total backup copies 0. We have not done. That means schedule is done. So when this schedule is going to run, remember 4 p.m. Okay, and now if you like to make further clear, okay, you want to make sure you go to the tools and go to task scheduler. I'd like to show you further detail. That's why go to task scheduler library. Okay, this should be Microsoft Windows, and here it will get display backup. See here. Now if I see the properties of this, okay, properties of this, so many options are here. This is a general, run whether user is logged on or not. You don't have to be logged on at that time in order to take the backup, because this is the scheduled backup, and scheduled backup means auto system. And next, trigger. When do you think this backup will be triggered? One at 4 p.m. and second at 4:30 p.m. Triggered means at that time this event will happen. Next one, action. This is one. It will create the event ID also itself. Okay, ID will be generated automatically. Conditions. Start the task only if the computer is on AC power. These are the conditions that you'd like to modify over here. It is up to you. It is up to you. Then setting, run tasks as soon as possible after the scheduled start is missed. What happens? Sometimes we miss the scheduled time. So under what circumstance do you think the scheduled time will be missed? That means at the same time you are recovering and the scheduled backup time also starts. Example, at 4, let's say you thought of recovering some of the files from the one backup, but the time scheduled for the backup is also 4. In that case, the 4 p.m.'s backup will be cancelled. Why? Because that server is busy in recovering process. So recovery and your backup process will not take place at the same time. In that case, your scheduled backup will be cancelled. Okay, and it will give you the history as well. Since we do not have anything right now, so it's not going to show me anything. So now we can't wait for the time, to start our backup. The next backup will be around here 4:30, and we can't wait for the around 26 minutes in this case. So that's why we are going to take our backup ourselves. Okay, so what we do now, we are going to click over here. Okay, backup once. We want to take backup now only. Okay, schedule backup options, create a backup or now. No, what we want to do, just a second, we want to backup once. So many consoles were open last time, that's why it's doing this, because normally it don't have to show that. See over here, so many are open over here, so we need to close 1 or 2. Otherwise we might be setting with the menu before that when the schedule was done. Okay, now over here let's come back. So I'm gonna close this one also. Okay, I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna close this one also. Now I'm gonna open the fresh recover console from your Windows Server Manager. Okay, it's loading now. I have opened so many services at the same time, and more than 2 OS at the same time, so my system is taking time, so no problem. Okay, go to tools. Now go to server backup, because the backup is not started yet. Okay, it will start at 4:30 because one backup schedule we have already missed, that was 4. Okay, now backup once. Schedule backup options, choose this option if you have created a scheduled backup and want to use the same setting for this backup. Of course we want to use the same thing. This is the folder, see, it's telling you, it's asking. Okay, now it will take the backup, and then we'll go to the client, we'll delete any one file, then again we'll come back to this recovery option, and we'll see that practically the delete and recovery can be done with the Windows Server backup feature. Now see, it's taking backup. Don't worry, the file size is very less, so it's going to take the less amount of time. But when you work in the practical environment where the huge amount of files are there, definitely sometimes it's taking more than an hour. Trust me, I have recovered some of the network, state where it took more than 3 to 4 hours. It depends upon your network speed, and it depends upon the size of your document that you have over that drive. So it's taking a copy, don't worry, creating shadow copy of the volume. Okay. It will show the total size also over here. So 1 KB. That's why I have given minimum amount of data so that it don't take much time. Okay, completed. One is completed, I will say that. We still have more. Completed. No, okay. Congratulations, it's done. Close. Now, if you see there, here, one backup is successfully taken. After that, if any of the client, okay, access that folder, okay, access that folder from the file server where the file was shared, okay, and delete it. For example, let's see, I'm going to delete all of this. I deleted all of this. Done. Now, if I go to my client machine and I try to access that file, okay, I'm going to access that file in my client machine as well, you will witness that the file is no longer because I deleted all. But don't worry, the backup, one backup copy is already over here in our server. So what I'm going to do, recover. Okay. Now, where in this server is asking, where is the backup stored that you want to use for the recovery? Do I have here? No, I have a backup stored in another location. That means in a network shared folder, if you remember. Now it's asking, what is the location type where the data backup is stored? Local, remote shared. Let's go to next. Now it will ask you the location. So the location is 192.168.1.2 and the name was stored because this is the folder where your backup was stored previously. Now it's asking you the time. Of course, I know this is the exact time when the date and time, it might be wrong over here, but it's exact 2020. Okay, it's November. Yeah, it's a right one. Now over here you see the time. If you have multiple data, you could drop down and see the multiple copies that have been taken, because so far we have taken only one backup, so it's showing the one backup. Next, now it's asking you finish the files and folders. You can browse volumes included in the backup and select the files and folders. Okay, or over here volumes, you can restore an entire volume. I'm not going to talk about restoring entire volume on drive C, no. So that's why I'm going to click next. Now this is your folder, okay, and it should be able to list out the files that we are having within this folder that was taken as a backup. Okay, congratulations, see all the files are there. Now I'm going to click next. Do you want to store in another location? Create the copy so that you can have both the versions. Override the existing versions with the recovered version. Do not recover this, of course we are not going to do that. Do not recover, we are not going to do that. I'm going to go to this PC and I'm going to go to my drive. Okay, my drive, and where was your data? Backup. Okay, I'm going to restore here. Recover. Now it takes time, few seconds. Again I repeat, in your real world scenario, it depends upon the size of your data. See, 4 files were there. Okay, completed. Okay, see, recovered 1. When? At 4:10. Now if I go back to my network shared folder that was used as a file server, you'll witness that all of those files are being successfully recovered. Okay, let's see that. Let it open my console now here. Now go to my C drive and my backup. And you see all the files are recovered now. So I guess it was a easy going steps. Okay, and it's going to add something to your knowledge. it was fruitful to perform your tasks as a system administrator in order to take the backup and recover of your folder or file, or sometime your entire system state, whatever you need in your network infrastructure. Okay, and if you think this video was bit informative and fruitful to you, that added something to your knowledge, so I would like to request, please do like and subscribe. Thank you.